Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at one of New Jersey's oldest and most successful malls, Menlo Park Mall in Edison, New Jersey. And yes, the mall is named after Thomas Edison's original laboratory at Menlo Park, which is just around the corner. I didn't do a ton of research on this mall before I got there, so I was both shocked and excited to see that this mall still has a rainforest cafe. I'm from Connecticut, and I think our last rainforest cafe closed sometime around 2013.
Oh, wow.
I know the food isn't amazing, but the atmosphere always kind of felt like being at Disney World, if only for an hour or so. Sadly, I was on a schedule and I just didn't have time to stop and have lunch, but now that I know it's there, I do plan to come back again sometime later this year and hopefully do a more detailed video of the place and also get something to eat. They've got a animatronic snake hanging from the ceiling. They've got birds, and if I remember correctly, in the back, I think they do have monkeys hanging from the ceiling too, and birds singing, and all kinds of stuff. It's kind of like the Tiki Room at Disney World. And then out front here, they have an alligator. I don't know. I just love it. I'm sure there's some people out there that hate it, but I love this kind of stuff. I wish more restaurants would be like this. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up. Thanks. And here's the menu for those of you that can read really fast, or just hit pause and you can read it that way. Alright, so now some history on the mall. The original incarnation of this mall, which largely no longer exists, was developed by Abraham and Sigmund Summer and opened in 1959 as an open-air mall called the Menlo Park Shopping Center. It didn't get the name Menlo Park Mall until it was fully enclosed between 1966 and 1967. Some of the original anchor stores were Bamberger's, which is where this Macy's is today, J.C. Penney, which moved to Woodbridge Center Mall in 1982, Woolworths, and Montgomery Ward. Some other early stores were Safeway, Walgreens, and Tom McCann, just to name a few. As far as I can tell, other than the Macy's building behind me, the mall you see today didn't really exist before the mall was almost completely rebuilt around 1990 to 1991. The original mall was a single floor and reportedly very dark. It had a prominent yellow, orange, black, and white color scheme, no skylights, and only some shaded windows along the roof. From what I've read, by 1988, the mall was described by some as empty and somewhat in disrepair. There were going out of business signs everywhere, numerous empty stores, and apparently the only reason most people came out to the mall was for the Macy's. As a result, in 1988, the mall was sold by Chase Investors Management Corp. Of New York City to the Shopping Center Association. The original plan was to refurbish the existing mall and add a second floor. However, it was eventually decided that it made more sense to tear the old mall down, except for the Macy's, and build a completely new mall, which is what you see today. As some of you might have already guessed, the mall's currently owned by Simon. I think Simon bought the mall around 1996, but this was a little bit unclear online, so if I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comments. The current mall, which was designed by RTKL Associates of Texas, cost about $100 million, and like I mentioned, was constructed between 1990 and 1991. During the construction, all of the stores in the mall, except for Macy's and Arcadian Gardens, shut down. I believe that one of the banks may have moved to a temporary location in the parking lot during the construction as well, but I'm not sure about that. As you can see, though, the renovation was worth the time and money, I think, because the result was pretty spectacular, especially at that time. Everything you see here did not exist before 1990. I think the current mall is on top of where the old mall was, at least to a certain point. Here's a picture of what the new mall looked like while it was under construction back around 1990. Some of the highlights of the new mall were the skylights, the dome ceilings, the marble flooring, and at one time, trees, fountains, and sculptures. They also added new parking garages, a 12-screen movie theater called the Cineplex Odeon, and a food court that featured a miniature forest in the center of it, imported terrazzo tiles, and more sculptures. Sadly, the fountains, trees, and sculptures were removed in 2015 during another renovation of the mall, and I think most of you will probably agree that that renovation was a major downgrade, at least appearance-wise. I'm guessing they probably did it to reduce maintenance costs and also probably lower insurance costs. I thought this was kind of funny. This mini mart here calls itself Stop and Shop, and as some of you might know, there's a major supermarket chain in the Northeast called Stop and Shop. And I know the names technically aren't the same, but they seem close enough that I would think the supermarket Stop and Shop might have an issue with that, especially because they have 47 Stop and Shops in New Jersey. So it's not like Stop and Shop is an unknown name here. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. This video was filmed on a Tuesday between about 3 to 4 p.m. And as you can see, it's pretty busy in here. It's not the busiest mall ever, but it's decently busy, especially for a Tuesday between 3 to 4 p.m. Also, I didn't see a lot of empty stores. I actually can't think of any. And there's no vacant anchor stores, so overall, the mall seems to be doing very well. Now, if this is your hometown mall or you've been here before, let me know what you think about it in the comments. And if you have any other theories as to why it's doing so well, please let me know. Now, coming up, this is what I think they call Center Court. And before 2015, there was a massive, spectacular water fountain here directly in front of this elevator. And, based on what it looks like in this picture, that's probably one of the most spectacular water fountains I've ever seen. And the fact that they removed it is just, it makes me really sad. I've said it many times before, but one of the major things I miss about malls from the 80s and 90s are the water fountains. And the trees and bushes too. Those also added a lot to a mall, just like the water fountains did. And now I can kind of understand why they would remove the water fountain for liability purposes. You don't want somebody falling in the fountain and drowning. But why would you remove the trees? What kind of maintenance is there for trees? There's no maintenance cost there that I can think of. And they're not exactly dangerous, so I just don't know why they would remove those. I think the mall might have also had a water fountain right here, but I'm not sure because I couldn't find any pictures of it online. And they do have an Apple store. One comment that's come up a few times in my mall video comment section is that some people have said if a mall has an Apple store, it's got to be doing fairly well. And I kind of agree with that because I can't think of any mall I've been to that was a dead or dying mall that had an Apple store. So there's your Apple store, and therefore this mall is not dying. Alright, so straight ahead where this Nordstrom store is today, this is where one of the original anchor stores, Montgomery Ward, was located from 1960 until 1972, when it became an Alexander's. The Alexander's closed sometime before 1990, not sure exactly when, and then that Nordstrom's opened up as part of the new mall in 1991. And I have to say, I really like these dome ceilings. They're very impressive. The second level's not quite as busy as the first level, but still, I don't think this comes anywhere close to qualifying as a dying mall or struggling. I've never been to this mall before, but while I was walking around, I kept thinking it felt like I'd been here before, and I was trying to think what mall this felt like, and I think it feels the most like the Westchester, which is a mall in White Plains, New York. It's not identical, but it's very similar. It's also a Simon Mall. The color scheme is basically the same. The architecture is, again, not identical, but very similar. And yeah, it was weird. I almost felt like I'd been here before, but I definitely hadn't. All right, so now let's take the elevator for a ride. Oh my God, this is the slowest elevator I've ever been in. Wow. And the noisiest. Still going. It's faster going up. And here's the food court, which I think was renamed to the Dining Pavilion in 2015. Before 2015, like I mentioned, there used to be a mini forest in the center of this food court. And I guess I can understand why they would have removed that, because that would have freed up a lot of space for tables and chairs. So it makes sense, but still, it would be nice to have a little forest in here today. Excuse me. So I'd say this food court's doing pretty well. Very few vacancies. And decently busy, again, for like 3 to 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. Alright, so that was the inside of the mall, but don't go anywhere yet. Like normal, I'm going to do a drive around of the mall and we can see what it looks like from the outside. But yeah, overall, I'd say this mall seems to be doing just fine. It looks nice, and I do intend to come back to this Rainforest Cafe someday. Better not close before I get back there, though. Alright, that's where I entered the mall, over by the Rainforest Cafe on the right. And then to the left here, this is the AMC Theater, which was the Cineplex Odeon when the mall opened up again in 1991. Not sure exactly when it became the AMC, though. And I think this is one of the parking garages that was added during the 1990-1991 renovation of the mall. Here's the Nordstrom's, which was added in 1991. Like I mentioned before that, it was Montgomery Ward and then Alexander's. Now, I think the original building that held the Alexander's and Montgomery Ward was torn down in 1990, 1991. I'm pretty sure about that. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I believe everything other than the Macy's at the other end of the building is all new since 1991. The problem with all these parking garages surrounding the mall is that it's hard to find the main entrance. I honestly don't know where the, quote-unquote main entrance to this mall is. I definitely did not go in the main entrance. I think I went in basically through the back door. So if anybody can tell me where the main entrance is to this mall, please let me know. And there's the Macy's building. It's been Macy's since '86, and before that it was Bamberger's. And I think you'll agree, it looks very different than the rest of the mall. It looks very clearly to have been built back in 1959 versus 1991. And there you have it. That is the Menlo Park Mall in Edison, New Jersey. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs and flea markets. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.